hold on right now. Let's go on out to the Comcast Business Hotline, bounce forward, where we're joined by Dan Orlovsky, our friend from ESPN. And Dan, I got to tell you something, and I'm going to say it to you like I'm going to say it to, I've said it, we were talking about it a little before you came on. I think that the media members commenting on this Carson Wentz story, especially ex-players, I think they're treating him with kid gloves. I don't think that they're calling 8 weeks without a comment, to me, is completely unacceptable. And it's getting worse. It's getting worse that we haven't heard from him. We got a new coach now. We have there should be something out of his camp, should there not?
100%. Completely agree. I said this a couple of weeks ago. The fact that he has not commented on the firing of Doug Peterson was alarming to me. Like, hey, come on. Especially in an era, in a time when communicating or making a comment is the easiest it's ever been in the history of the world. The fact that there wasn't something sent out of, okay, you brought me into this league. I'm forever thankful for everything that I've learned from you. Wish it worked out something better. And now with the hiring of a new head coach, there's, again, no comment of looking forward to being the leader of this football team. So excited for the future. Can't wait to get to work. Something that signifies that you're attached in some way, that you're still a part in some way. And as the days go by, obviously this is something that I pay attention to closely, but as with every story in the NFL, but as the days go by, I get more and more thought that he doesn't want to be there, no matter who the head coach is. Like he wants out no matter who the head coach is. As every single day goes by and him not making some kind of a comment, some inclination of excitement for the future, I think he's still going to ask to be released or traded or whatnot.
Dan, I don't know if you got a chance to read the Tim McManus ESPN.com story yesterday on Carson Wentz, but it basically paints the picture of a stubborn quarterback that was more or less tough to coach this year. Is that something a new coach can bring out of Carson Wentz, or is that strictly, and I mean strictly, on the shoulders of number 11?
No, it takes both, okay? It takes both. This is a quarterback and coach is like a marriage, okay? You've got to be invested both in working through all the things that are going to hold you back and trying to, really hone in on the things that are going to make you successful. Listen, what I heard, what I had been kind of attached to, and I didn't read Tim's story, I'm sure it was fantastic, was like there were so many different types of coaches, the run game coach, and then the drop back coach, and then the play action coach, and they all throughout the week would kind of put together the thought process of what the game plan was going to be, and then they'd give it to Doug, and Doug would call the plays. And the reason that there was some frustrations was because, Carson would have individual time with those coaches making those different game plans, and the play call would come in and he'd be like, that's not why we put this play in, or this isn't the situation, or and whatnot. And so that's why there was so much kind of headbutting and stubbornness and whatnot. And so at the end of the day, Nick is going to have to go in, and their offensive coordinator is going to have to go in, and Brian Johnson, the quarterback coach, is going to have to go in and, set the expectation level and have those conversations of what are you looking for from us? And then Carson's going to have to ask, what are you looking for from me, as just the expectation level to start with, and the accountability level, and the what is and what is not allowed level. And you got to earn that for a new coaching staff. Carson's going to have to earn the right to be at the line of scrimmage and changing things. And it doesn't mean that he needs to have 75 plays to choose from. You could have 3 plays. Hey, if you don't like this look, let's get to something like this. And so, there's got to be a lot of clarity communicated, but on both parties are going to have to earn the trust and the right and the ability to kind of do some of the things that they want to do to help impact the other.
Dan, there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks reportedly on the market coming up here in this offseason.
Yeah.
I got to think Carson Wentz is down near the bottom of the shopping list, though. Of the guys, if you're talking about that, I don't think Rodgers is going to be available, but if he was, then you're talking about Deshaun Watson, Stafford. Yeah. I'm looking at it and going, well, Carson Wentz's name isn't coming up in the first grouping.
Yeah, I would disagree with that. If you're looking at the guys that are available that we think are real, listen, Aaron Rodgers is not going anywhere.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson is going to want out. This new hire has no impact on that. Matthew Stafford, we already know. And then if you're looking at another guy that might be available, who? Like Dak Prescott? No, I don't think that Dallas is going to walk away from Dak unless they do a signing trade for a Matthew Stafford type of player. So, the next available guy that you look at and go, okay, is there the talent? Do we have a track record of success? What is this player? It would be Carson Wentz to me. And that's why, here's my thing. Because I know, it's a recency of, the poor play in 2020. But I think that we can also sit back while Carson's hands were on the poor play this year, no doubt. I think that everybody can be realistic and take a step back and be like, there was a lot of bad, a lot of subpar, a lot of substandard, and you're going, okay, was the poor play in 2020 a directive of what was going poor in that organization? But what about 2017? And what about 2018? And what about 2019? Those have to have some weight as well. We can't overlook 3 years compared to one.
Dan, we're hearing so much about personality and feelings getting hurt and all that stuff. You can break down Carson Wentz terrifically as far as on the field, but is there maybe some personality flaws that are really hurting this situation?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. I think there's this reality. I always try to look at treetop and then get down into the weeds of the situation. So where Carson's from factors into this, okay? He goes to school. He's BMOC. You're the absolute top dog at a school that, the biggest thing they have is football, right? And then he becomes this early draft pick, and in his second year takes the league, takes the city by storm. That's 3, 4, 5, 6 years in a really important time frame in your life when it comes to the maturation, the personality development, that you're on top of the world. And you can start to feel yourself. There's no question. You can start to think that it's just you or how big you are, right? And I think that's very much so human nature for so many of us. And then you get kicked in the teeth, right? And so, yeah, there's definitely a personality aspect of and that's why I have said so many times, this is such an important 6, 8, 10-month process for Carson Wentz to constantly be looking at himself in the mirror. It's okay to admit that I'm not good enough in these areas. Carson, you're not good enough at communication, it seems like. That's okay. Get better at it. You're not good enough at the leadership. And I'll keep it real. You're not good enough at leadership between some of your teammates that don't look like you, right? And so, that's why, you've got to be willing to say, all right, how do I endear myself to these teammates that aren't white guys from the Midwest? That are some of my black teammates from the South. How do I endear myself to them a little bit more? How do I understand them a little bit more? That was such a big deal. And Peyton was great at this. Matthew was great at this. That these guys, when they walked into the locker room, everybody felt that they they cared about them as dudes, you know? Like, I'm not trying to get like super soft here, like, oh, you, but like they cared about them as dudes. Like they didn't ever, they had this great ability to make sure everybody knew that they were the guy. Like they were unquestionably the leader of the franchise, but they were just a guy as well. Like they were just one of the dudes, one of the teammates, whether you look like them or not, whether you're the same age as not, whether you guys went to the same school or not. And Carson needs to get to that point where he's okay understanding, all right, I don't excel in that. Let me get better at it. How do I get better at it? I think that's a big deal.
Dan, we got like a minute or so to go here, so I want to get you in on this one. Do you believe a young coaching staff, an inexperienced NFL coaching staff, one of the youngest staffs I've ever seen assembled, is the kind of staff that can take on the task of fixing a Carson Wentz?
It's a challenge. You made it harder on yourself than it needed to be. But if you've got great communication skills, if you've got great teaching skills, and you understand people and what's needed for those people individually to get where they're trying to get to, then you can do it. Absolutely. Just because you don't have a ton of experience in the NFL doesn't mean that you can't do it. But the biggest thing is to get to the point where the person standing across from you, the player standing across from you, is willing to trust in the words that are coming out of your mouth. That will be the biggest challenge that they have to jump over.
It's going to be a challenge that we will be watching. And, Dan, we appreciate you making time for us today. Thanks, man. Take care of yourself. Dan Orlovsky joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Bounce